Okay, so I think your positions on immigration really could be considered rebellious. Let's start right there. The U.S. has a debt to pay to Mexico. Explain that. What do you think the real issue is with those who say go home to the Mexicans? But why can't they simply come to America legally like many of the other immigrants before them? So let's talk for a moment about priority dates, because you believe that until we have reform, we need to look at the laws that we have and how we might be able to change them or to work within them. One of those areas is in priority dates. Now, this could really be a difficult discussion, but what I want to do is I want to keep it on a layman's terms so we can kind of understand what priority dates are all about. So I'll ask you 3 questions. What are priority dates? Why are they important to immigration? And what's tyrannical about them?
Okay. The United States has a system of so many immigrant visas or green cards being awarded each year. For example, in employment, it's 140,000 for the whole world. Not a lot. Each country gets 7%. No matter how big the country is. As I was saying, China gets the same as San Marino. Within that 7%, it's broken down into different preferences or categories. Each category gets a certain amount. The law says that in order to apply for the green card, you have to have a green card number immediately available to you. You have to be at the head of the line, like when you go to pay for something at a store. You have to be at the head of the line in order for the salesperson to take your purchase. It's the same thing in immigration. You have to be at the head of the line where there's a green card number immediately available to you in order to even be able to apply for the green card. Now, in some countries, like India, China, Mexico, the Philippines, where there is a very, very heavy and sustained demand to come permanently to the United States, that has resulted in huge waiting periods. Huge, enormous. And those places in line are called priority dates. Priority dates are a way to arrange people in line who want to get a green card, to put it in simple terms. Now, if you have, let's say, an advanced degree, a PhD in engineering from India, and you have managed to persuade the U.S. government that your work is in a national interest, so they've approved a petition on your behalf, it will take 8, 9, 10, maybe longer years in order to have your priority date become current. Meaning in order for you to even apply for the green card, even if you've been able to demonstrate that your work is in the national interest of the U.S., even if you have been able to demonstrate there aren't Americans to do your job, it will take years until you can even apply. That is because of the inadequate immigrant quotas and the priority date system, which says you cannot even apply for the green card until you get to the head of the line.
And so you liken priority dates to institutionalized racism. Can you explain that?
There used to be a law that was passed in 1924 by the Congress called the National Origins Quota. It was passed after World War I to keep Jews and Catholics from Southern and Eastern Europe to come to the U.S. And it was the law until 1965, when things were made geographically neutral. There used to be laws in the 1880s that lasted until World War II, excluding Chinese from permanently coming to the United States, making them ineligible for citizenship. It was called the Chinese Exclusion Act. Now, we don't have those laws overtly right now, but the effect is still the same. The priority date system is such that it is becoming almost a mirage, almost a cruel joke for people from China and India to hope to emigrate to the U.S. They might as well have a do not apply sign, because that is the effect of the priority date system.
So what's the answer? And in about a minute or so, what's the answer to the priority date system? How can it be corrected outside of legislative or congressional reform?
That's really the answer, because we have inadequate quotas. But short of that, there are enormous possibilities for remedial action in the law as it now exists through executive action and regulation that would not wait upon congressional action or be dependent upon congressional action. There's enormous flexibility in the law. The executive, through executive order, through regulation, through administrative action, can do many, many of the things that legislation could do. I'll give you one example. In the summer of 2007, in July, there was a dispute between the immigration authorities and the State Department as to this whole system of priority dates, which ones were current and which ones were not. And so they compromised, and they said for 1 month, all green card categories based on employment were current. Everyone could apply, regardless of priority dates, regardless of how many people were in line ahead of you. For that 1 month, everyone could apply. There was no change in regulation. Congress never acted. They decided this as a matter of interpretation and administrative fiat. They could do the same thing today. We could let people informally submit their applications, not technically apply, but have a provisional submission, giving them many of the benefits in terms of travel and employment that they would get normally as part of an official green card application. But the cases would not be approved unless and until the priority dates actually became current. So that way, people who were in the United States, who were not going home, whose talents we need, could be allowed to get on with their lives, and we as a country could get the benefit of their talent and their energies and their commitment.
So what is the likelihood of that happening now?
I think it's very unlikely, although several months ago a memo was written to USCIS Director Alejandro Mayorkas, basically arguing for the same thing that I'm arguing for now. And the memo was leaked by opponents of this who wanted to create a political controversy and defeat the approach. If the administration had the vision and the political will to do it, they could do it now. They could do it tomorrow.
Okay, so as a corporate attorney for many years, an attorney for BP, how have you seen the priority dates affect the corporations in America?
Okay. Again, I'm not speaking for BP. I'm only speaking for me. But
right.
Let me give you an example. It is becoming increasingly difficult for technology-oriented companies to attract the best and the brightest talent which they need and which America needs. And so what is inevitably going to happen, and you're already seeing it now to some extent with companies establishing R&D centers outside the United States by countries that are more than eager to have them. If you cannot get the talent you need into the United States because of antiquated and irrational immigration restrictions, then companies will increasingly send those jobs out of the United States to be done at research and development centers where the talent can be employed. And inevitably, we are going to weaken our own national economic competitiveness by that. And it's happening now.
Okay, thank you so very much, Gary Endelman, for joining us here on Deborah Interviews. You have a great day.